444 DC locomotive built by General Electric. Wow! CSX, CS. Sorry guys, the train's a little bit slow, but here it comes. Here again, full speed. Familiar.
It's right there.
See you back. Not again. Whoa. That was one huge CP rail. Whoa! Whoa! That was one long CP tanker train. pretty weird, the cab car. Wow. Wow. Pretty nice horn on that one. It's a ghost! Wow! Rear engine! 646! Walmart. Awesome. This GO train will luckily be departing. It's 9:12. Whoa. It's the same engine I just captured. Was one long CN train with that pretty cool P5 for it. BNSF. Chicago Northwestern, yes! Wow, that was awesome. That was one long train with that pretty cool horn. Whoa! Awesome! A sea and sludge! Wow! This is a pretty awesome horn! Woo! Awesome! That was one cool CN train with that pretty cool horn and the JP